Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to today's episode of How You're Getting Effed. I'm your host, Louis Rossman, and here's my co-host, Blackberry the Kitten. We've moved the microphone so that it's a little bit easier to see my co-host, and we've also given my co-host some more comfortable accommodations here. I have these things all around the house, but she wants to sit next to me when I'm doing a video, so she should get this. It actually has 3 levels to it, so it's easier for her to climb in her old age since she does have a bone disease in her back, so making her jump 1 level onto the chair was kind of mean, given that it's probably much more difficult for her than having What the I spent all this money on this. Why are you sitting on me? What the Why? I have work. I have to do a video. Can we talk about HP now? As long as you don't step on the keyboard, fine. All right, so today we're going to be discussing HP and one of the decisions that they made, which is, don't touch the microphone, girl. Not again. You fucking menace. Today we're going to be discussing HP and their decision to add 15 minutes artificially to every single customer phone call. When I say add 15 minutes, I don't mean they fired customer service staff or no, not the microphone, you fucking terrorist. When I say 15 minutes, hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to today's episode of How You're Getting Effed. I'm your host, Louis Rossman, and this is a cat that I got this really nice cat tree for, and why use that when you can fuck with the microphone or use my lap? Anyway, so today we're going to be discussing HP. This video is sponsored by Gator Frameworks that makes literally the worst microphone stands on planet Earth. Never buy one of these pieces of shit. It doesn't matter how hard you tighten this. I've literally tried using fucking pliers before. This shit just falls down like, oh my God. I literally use a rope and a bottle of a floor cleaner or detergent on the other end to keep it from falling. I put the mic over here instead of having it over there because I wanted it to not block Blackberry the cat, and this thing goes down like Paris Hilton on Scott Storch before he lost $70 million. Like, are you serious? Really? What a piece of shit. This video is brought to you by Murphy's Cleaning Oil. The only way to make a piece of shit Gator mic stand work. All right, put this on this side. Nice. Yeah. Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to today's episode of How You're Getting Effed. I'm your host, Louis Rossman, and today we're going to be discussing how... Sit, menace. Sit. And today we're going to be discussing how HP decided that they were going to arbitrarily add a 15-minute hold time to every single person who called in, regardless of whether there was a customer service agent available. Usually when you call customer service, it'll tell you have to wait 7 minutes or 10 minutes or 45 minutes. And as much as you may hate that, it is a fundamental requirement because they have limited resources. Even if they have limited resources because they cut half of their customer service staff, it is a reality of the limited resources. What HP has decided to do here is go even more into the depths of just being garbage by making this a thing, even if there's people available to answer your call. There could be 16 people there in the customer service center just twiddling their dicks with nothing to do, and they still won't pick up the phone for you. It's not because they don't want to, it's because they are literally technically incapable of, as a result of HP's new policy, where they force you to wait 15 minutes, and even the agents at these companies are deciding that they don't like this, because the agent is now going to deal with somebody who's like, why the fuck did you make me wait 15 fucking minutes for nothing? They're all going to scream, and rightfully so. You should, because you should not enjoy being fucked with, and you should respond in kind when a company does that to you after you've given them money. The problem here is that the worker has no control over this. So the workers at the company, as well as the customers, were quite aggravated at this. The customers are unhappy because they have to wait for no good reason, and the workers are unhappy because they have all these aggravated customers. So they decided to do an about-face. The reason that they did this, and I quote, is encouraging more digital adoption by nudging customers to go to online, self-solve, and taking decisive short-term action to generate warranty cost efficiencies. Taking short-term action to generate warranty cost efficiencies. AKA, if we put enough fucking dark patterns in your way, maybe you won't file a legitimate warranty claim. How many people here have gone to a company's website when their product didn't work and tried to find the ability to send an RMA and get warranty service? How many people here spend 10 minutes on it and couldn't figure out how to fucking do it? How many people here know exactly why that's the case? The reason that dark patterns exist is because they extract more money from you. Companies love to make it as easy as possible for you to give them their money, and as difficult as possible when they need to give an RMA. It's like gyms that allow you to sign up online. You want to cancel? Send us certified mail. Not regular mail, certified mail. So you have to figure out how to fucking print it at home, dick around with your computer and a postal printer, or have to go and wait in line 15 minutes for the post office. At which point you won't. They're saying the quiet part out loud. Generate warranty cost efficiencies. Less people will file warranty claims if it's made more difficult to do. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a website because I needed to RMA something, and it's almost fucking impossible. I mean, my mother came up with this like 30 years ago. God rest her soul. It was a great-ass idea. It was called a lifetime warranty, where she would buy something, and if the warranty policy took her more than 45 seconds to figure out how to use, she would buy that exact same product from the company and then return the broken one in the box of the new product, and that would be what she would call the lifetime warranty. And I honestly, the more this shit goes on, the more it makes sense to utilize this type of lifetime, horribly immoral, that I would never suggest you use limited warranty, because it makes sense. Companies are literally going out of their way to make it as difficult as fucking possible for you to do something. And I completely understand why this type of thing is being done, and you should too. We're talking about the same company that has decided to make it as difficult as possible for you to install aftermarket ink cartridges and called it dynamic security. We're talking about the same company that makes a printer, scanner, fax, or copier where the scanner doesn't work if your ink runs out. When somebody went onto HP's forum to say, what the fuck, I bought a printer, scanner, copier, why can't I scan? Somebody on the forum says, you need to have an ink cartridge installed in the printer. The printer will not work without an ink cartridge. He's like, bro, it's a scanner. Well, no, it's a printer and a scanner in one. And for the printer to work, which technically has a scanner in it, it needs ink. When they were sued over this, they decided to take the weasel way out, which is say, well, that's just on our forum. That wasn't you calling us. And he didn't specify the model when he said that. So technically, you can't sue us. Even though what they explained in the forum is 100% accurate to how the printer works. It's all archived on wiki.rossmangroup.com, along with the court case. This is a weasel company with scumbag people who don't have the balls to say out loud, all of our scanner, printer, faxer combos require ink to work because we want more money. They can't say that out loud. And they didn't say it out loud in the case. These are the same type of cowardly weasels that don't want to have to face their actual customers because they're afraid of one of them turning into a Luigi over the phone. And one of the things to understand is that there are certain markers in business where at some point you have to realize like this just doesn't work. And for me, that marker is when I'm not willing to answer the phone anymore for my customers. I had a supply business from 2011 to 2013. It failed miserably. And I remember at one point, I just didn't want to answer the phone anymore. And I didn't even want to have somebody for the phone. I was just going to come up with an email and a voicemail message that said, just leave a message and we'll email you back. And I did this because at some point I was competing with people to where I was making 23 to 28 cents on a lot of my sales. And people were calling in wanting tech support for 15 or 20 minutes, sometimes on their issues. They would buy an N156B6 LOB instead of an N156B3 LOB because they were being a cheapskate and they didn't want to read the fucking description that said in all caps, do not buy this if you have a fluorescent screen. Here's how to tell if you have a fluorescent screen. For the love of God, this won't work. And they did it anyway because the fluorescent screen cost twice as much as the LED one because it was discontinued. They didn't read it, and then they would call in to talk about this, and they would go over it for 10 or 15 minutes, and I have to walk them through this. And it's like, I just made 28 cents off of this. And once I realized that I did not want to pick up the phone from my customers, that was the day I decided I'm closing this business. There were many reasons that business failed, but when you're no longer willing to speak to your customers because you are so afraid of what's going to happen on the phone, whether they're angry at you and want to kill you, or whether they're nice, but they're going to take up 15 minutes of your time in exchange for 28 cents, your business model doesn't work anymore. And the point that I would argue here is that if you're at the point where so many of your customers calling in want to kill you because you go out of your way to make aftermarket ink cartridges not work, you create a system where the printer, faxer, scanner, copy, or combo will not scan if you don't have full fucking ink in it, and so on and so forth, you might want to think twice about these business models. If you're at the point where if you walked into one of your customers in the street, you would want to lie about being an HP employee that's responsible for making that decision because you might be beaten by a violent, angry mob, you may want to rethink your business practices. This is how I deal with things as a customer as well. I was calling contractors recently because I was having issues with my home. I chose my house the same way I choose my relationships. Great view, horrible foundation. And there were several people that did not want to pick up the phone. It always went to voicemail even when they were open, and they never called back. And at the end of their voicemail, they highly suggested that you email them for contact. And if I'm going to give you $10, $20, $30, $80,000 to work on my property, and you don't want to pick up the phone, like, that's a no. Is the company that I called that I decided to do business with the best or the cheapest? Probably not the cheapest by any margin, but they won't have a conversation with me, which is why I feel comfortable actually giving them money. If you're not willing to talk to me, just get out of here. And with my company, it's the same way. You may not like the whole time because I got one person that answers the phone at a 5 or 6 employee company. You may not like the answer you get, but you're going to get an answer. If you have a hot air station that's broken, we'll pick up the phone. You may be angry and say, I bought this 8 months ago and it broke already. You'll say, okay, my bad. Give me your order number. We'll send you another one. But the reason I'm willing to pick up the phone for those customers is because my business practices are not something that I'm so fundamentally ashamed of. If I had hot air stations that worked perfectly for the first 6 months, but then on the 7th month only worked if you used flux that you bought from Rossman Repair Group, and the only way you'd figure this out is if you read the manual inside the box that you agreed to the terms of service of before you bought it, at that point, my customers are going to want to kill me. They're going to want to throw a Molotov cocktail through my window. And at that point, I wouldn't really be able to blame them. Once you're at that point, of course, you wouldn't want to answer the phone for your customers. But once you're at the point of doing that type of shit to make money, do you not check yourself at all and go, if I am at a point where I don't even want my customers to know that I work at HP and made this decision if I'm on the street because I don't want to be tarred and feathered, should I be making those decisions? Like once you're at the point where you are literally afraid to pick up the phone at your company because you know that it's going to be such shit every single time, that you're literally going out of your way to manipulate your customers into not calling you, is there no self-reflection moment? Is there no check in your head like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this? With Tato, once you're at the point of psychologically manipulating your customers to try and figure out if you can get more money, does it never occur to you that maybe you're doing something wrong? Maybe there's a better way to make money. Cut expenses here, try to make revenue over there instead. With that repair company in Colorado that was suing over 80 of their customers that had a 40% delinquency rate. Like, does it ever occur to you, maybe I shouldn't offer an $89 diagnostic and take in all this different equipment that I have no idea if it's financially viable to fix, because that may piss people off, and then sue them when they don't pay a $3,000 storage fee on binoculars? Like, there are these checks that you should have where you realize that something has gone wrong if I'm at the point of even doing this. You know, it was interesting. I was talking to a friend of mine at a bar 2 days ago. She's great. And we were talking about, this is completely unrelated to this, and I really don't want it to delve into politics, but it was about Trump and Ted Cruz back in 2015, where, like, forget about politics for a moment. If somebody insults your wife and just says they're kind of ugly or unattractive, forget about even political disagreements or whether or not you want to work together across the aisle. Don't you just kind of want to walk over and punch that person in the face? She asked me, she's a woman. I don't understand her. Like, as a man, how would you feel about that? And I'm like, no, you're right. I would kind of want to punch that person in the face. I may not do it, but the desire is there. And her whole argument is that, well, A, what kind of a man are you if you just kind of become friends with the person who did that, even if you're a politician and they're on the same side? And B, does that mean that you're potentially with the wrong woman if you don't feel that desire? Like, it's either there's something wrong with you or the person you're with. And we had a fun conversation about this, and it reminded me of something. You know, one of the best relationships I've ever been in with was the only person I've ever actually shown the channel. Erica, great woman, kind, caring, amazing, loving woman. And what I remember, there's this one day where I was in Boston at the Trillium Beer Garden for a meetup. I was trying to get people excited for a lobbying day. It was sometime in either September or October 2021. And this fuckface follows us across the country and follows her to that event to freak her out. This is somebody who used to email these fucked up emails and leave all these weird comments, and he just shows up in person and is acting like a weirdo. So the moment I see this and I figure out that's you, the moment it clicked, like, I kicked him out. And I sat there for about 30 seconds and I'm just steaming and steaming and steaming. And then I wind up running down the block. I'm like, nah, I got to figure out where this guy is. And I run down this block, he ain't there. Run down this block, he ain't there. Run down that block, finally found him. And I said, bro, I need to be assured that I'm never going to see you again. Like, you need to assure me that I'm never going to see you again before nobody sees you again. Like, I was very close to getting arrested. God bless Nathan Proctor. Not only is he a great dude for lobbying for right to repair, he's also a great friend to have so that you don't wind up ending up in a prison in Boston because you almost, not the best night. I was having a conversation with the same friend about somebody else. It was a different relationship, and this was one where I didn't really feel the urge to do anything when she was slighted by somebody. It wasn't nearly as bad, but it still was something that should have gotten a reaction out of me of some sort, and I got nothing. Which is just nothing. And I remember talking about it the next day and wondering why that was the case. And it kind of took some time for me to finally process. We had a discussion that turned into an argument because she had parked in a handicap spot, and she thought that was okay. And then there was a park that we had went to later that was one of these places like on the honor system. It's just $2 or $3 to enter. It's a really nice park. And she was arguing over paying for it. I'm just thinking, like, you make well over six figures. I mean, this is like, why? And it was this fundamental thing that I had not noticed because I had these blinders where I was dating somebody that was really good looking, so I wasn't paying attention to their character, which is a giant flaw of mine that I'm very, very ashamed of. I'm not happy with myself for that. But we were having this discussion and she brought it up and I was like, like, if you don't feel that desire when you're with somebody to protect them when somebody craps on them, you're probably in the wrong relationship. If you're afraid of talking to your customers at your business, you are probably doing something wrong with your business, and that business model either needs to be changed or it just needs to go. Once you're at the point of psychologically manipulating your customers or fucking with your customers or doing anything that would get you tarred and feathered walking down the street, if a customer over there knew that you were the one who made that decision, I have people that don't like my company. There are people who've had a bad experience with my company. And if I walk down the street and they saw me, maybe it would be a little bit awkward. But they're not going to tar and feather me. They're not going to beat me with a baseball bat. They're not going to go from being a normal person to screaming like a psychopath because of their experience. If a company tells you that we don't even want to talk to you to the point where we're going to go out of our way to fuck with you and just make sure you have to stay on hold for 15 minutes just to torture you, in my opinion, that's another psychological experiment. That's a Black Mirror episode. Let's see how many people give up. Let's see how many people give up and even trying to contact us because we've made it so difficult. You know, if there's enough dark patterns in your website, then you'll just fucking give up at some point. It works. That's why we need the Consumer Action Task Force Wiki now more than ever. Wiki.rossmangroup.com, made possible by viewers like you. Every time a company does this, the wiki's going to get one page longer. I'm not the biggest fan of Trump, but I remember when he would always do that. He cracks me up, even if I'm not a fan of him as a politician. When he would always do that shit about like the wall just got 1 foot taller. Like every time a company does this, like the wiki got 1 page longer. I like him or hate him, he's fucking funny. Like I hate saying it, like 'cause he's somewhat of a coward. And when it comes to HP, their page on the wiki got 1 page longer. That's it for today, and as always, hope you learned something. Never buy an HP printer. Never buy an HP product. They fuck with you on purpose, and they say it out loud, because that's how little they think of you. And if a company thinks that little of you, and you have a choice to buy from anybody else, buy from somebody else. Canon does the same thing on the scanner printer thing, by the way, so don't buy from them either. See you in the next one. Hello, Menace. That's a good Menace. Who didn't step on my keyboard? Except for when you stepped on my keyboard 15 minutes ago and froze my entire computer and caused me to have to take so long to go back to this video that the sun went down. Fucking Menace. I'm going to rename you from Blackberry to Menace. It doesn't rhyme though, but Blackberry the Menace, there's Dennis the Menace, Barry the Menace. It means that I can't, Menace. See ya.